Hello and welcome to the Musical Instrument Investigator. Today on the website of FX Tourte Auctions based in Hong Kong, we're going to have a look at their latest auction, which is bows, violin, viola and cello bows, I believe. So it looks like they have about 50 or so bows for sale in this auction. They've had a few auctions before, at least one or two of which I've covered, and I think I've missed one or two. But definitely interesting auctions, especially if you're interested in fine bows, because they usually have some amazing examples here. So we're just going to have a quick look round and see what they have. I'm not particularly good with bows, being honest, but I just thought this was quite a cool auction if you are interested in bows. So all I'm doing is just having a look and see how they lay it out. So this auction is finishing on the 8th of October. It's the 6th today, so a couple of days left to go. This is obviously a auction based in Hong Kong, so if you're looking to bid and you're getting stuff shipped, bear that in mind. Import, export fees, all that stuff, CITES fun. Buyer's premium's 21% on this, so whatever the final hammer price, you have to pay 21% on top. So the actual live auction bidding starts in a couple of days. So without further ado, I think we'll just kind of crack on and have a look at what they've got here. Just to say, if you do enjoy these videos, please consider subscribing, like, comment, etc. And always glad to hear some feedback from people about potential next videos. So anyway, let's start on. So we've got a German violin bow from 1930, Pernambuco, silver mounted, or nickel silver mounted, sorry, ebony frog there. Let's have a look. You can do the big kind of zoom in the details. And they've got a few more images here as well. So they do pretty well in terms of images. And one thing that is pretty good that this auction has, you can do this full 3D rotation, which I think is pretty cool. So you can do that of the head and also of the frog as well, which I think is pretty nice. And the condition reports are actually really clear for this particular auction. You can see here, so there's some damage onto the stick here. So I'm not going to go into this too much other than on maybe a few of the finer bows, but it is interesting that you can see all these things, and it's definitely worth checking. Other thing to say, which I think is great, is they have this built-in currency converter, which is a really clever idea. You can see the countdown for the auction, so a really well organized auction. I have to say, I've never bid on anything from them. I've never bought anything, so I don't know how that works, but the way it's organized I think is pretty good. So just for the purposes of people that are, say, from the UK, roughly it's 1,000 Hong Kong dollars to about 95, 100 pounds. So for these purposes, I'm just going to knock off a zero at the end to work out the estimate. So it's 800 to 1,200 pounds estimate for this particular bow. So I don't have any idea what that is. Seems potentially a little bit high to me from an estimate point, but that is just my point of view. So we can move on to the next one here. We'll see if the internet is going to be friendly to us. So we've got a French cello bow, 7/8 size. Actually, I bought a 7/8 kind of size cello bow from one of the Amati auctions not that long ago, which is still in a box somewhere. So interesting to see that other people kind of mention 7/8 cello bows, because you don't really see that mentioned too often. So made around 1930, Pernambuco. It's got a tortoiseshell frog, so bear that in mind, with CITES, 79 grams. So that's at 900 to 1,500 pounds, basically the estimate. Not going to get into the 3D of it there, because I think that's a bit over the top, but there's going to be some pretty interesting stuff coming up later that I think would be nice to look at. So we've got a Viola bow by Roger Francois Lot, 1970, Pernambuco, etc. Nice looking bow there. It's got a certificate of the Cabinet d'Archetier, so it's Raffin and Co. They're really kind of respected people there. We're looking at kind of 4,000 to 5,000 on the estimate of that. And like I said, always, if you're interested in bows, check out these 3D views, check out the condition reports. Oh, you can even look at the certificate. We didn't see that before. There you go. That's a good full version of the different people involved in the Cabinet d'Archetier. So yeah, like I said, really well thought out auction house, I would say. Let's move on to the next one. Like I said, we've got quite a lot, so we don't want to go too crazy. Violin bow, School of Pierre Simon, 1855 there. Obviously needs a bit of TLC. There, it's lost its kind of lapping. Looks like it needs a new face. Let's have a quick look at the condition report just to see. They've got some wear. Yeah, interesting. It looks to me that the faceplate is missing. Maybe let's have a look at 3D view of the head just to see. Yeah, so there's no faceplate there. Interesting they don't mention that on the condition report, so just bear in mind if you're looking at bows to have a look at everything, you'd have to get a new faceplate fitted, so that might cost something. So £3,000 to £4,000 is the estimate on that, essentially. Just a reminder that I'm kind of converting from Hong Kong dollars here. Violin bow by Morozov Frère, 1955. Another one with a certificate, 2 to 3 on that. So some of them we're just going to whiz through. I've zoomed out a little bit so I can capture a lot of the information in one go. So you can obviously look at this in a bit more zoomed up in your own time. Viola bow by Claude Thomasin, 1910. Another one with a RAF certificate here. So we're looking at 12 to 18,000 on this. So quite a substantial bow. It's quite nice shots of the disassembly here. Let's have a look at the condition report. I don't want to get too much into the weeds of looking at some of this stuff, but obviously a good, really respected French maker there, Thomasin. We've got quite a few more to go. Right, violin bow attributed to Charles Piccat around 1890, faintly stamped Piccat, Pernambuco there, Ebony Frog. We're on 2 to 3,000 on that one there. So remember, attributed to is not the same as being by. Right, violin bow by Emile Auguste Bouchard there, 1925. So we're looking at 11,000 to £16,000 on that. If you're interested in bows, definitely check out this auction. Even if you're not interested in buying, but you just like looking at pictures of bows, great auction for that. Or if you're a maker, definitely have a look at this. Violin bow by Bazin Workshop around 1940, stamped Lupo, so we're on 2 to 3 of that. I know there's some pretty special bows in this auction a bit later on. So let's see. Oh, I've just kind of managed to completely get out of that. Okay, so it seems that lot 109 is withdrawn, so it's just kicked us out of the whole auction for whatever reason. So, right, a cello bow, the French school around 1850, stamped Lupo. Full original and in very good condition. Plain frog and bone adjuster. That's a beautiful looking bow. Look at that. Beautiful head on that as well. Very nice looking bow. So 4,500 to 5,500 on that. It's a really, really nice bow for sure. Let's have a look at the condition report on that. Not seeing a lot so far. You've obviously got the weight. Everything is quite important. Let's have a look at the 3D view of the frog actually. Just want to see. It looks like a open trench frog here, which I really, really kind of like from a design point of view. So, very nice. Viola bow by Jacques Ordonneau, 1975 there. We've got 3 to 4,000 on that. It's got a Pierre Guillaume certificate, one of the other experts based in Brussels. So, always good to see certificates from Raffin or Guillaume. Right, violin bow by Francois Nicolas Vorin, 1880 there, another one with a Guillaume certificate, so with 13 to 15,000 on that. I'm not 100% sure of the current kind of market for a lot of these makers. Like I said, bows not so much my kind of thing, but interesting to look at the auctions anyway. Another violin bow by Francois Nicolas Vorin there, Guillaume certificate again. 15 to 20,000 the estimate on that. So we've got a few more left to go. Violin bow by Francois Nicolas Vorin again, 1880. This one Raffin certificate instead. 12 to 14 on that. Right, Lot 115, violin bow by Jacob Uri, around 1825 to 1830 there. Pernambuco, looks like quite a nice looking bow there. Certificate by Bernard Millant, 2014, the late expert on bows from France. Mr. Millant there. Let's have a look at this certificate. So we're 19 to 27,000 on that. That's a nice hand written certificate there. That's quite nice from a collector point of view. Right, this is getting a bit more interesting now. Nicholas Leonard Tourte, violin bow by Nicholas Leonard Tourte, around 1795. Very nice Pernambuco wood, later ivory frog, later silver overlaid adjuster, good state of preservation. Sold with the additional ebony frog to play. Okay, don't know, they've adjusted this. I think there's another Tourte bow coming up, so maybe they got it mixed. Interesting, 23 to 31,000 on that. So we don't see any frog at all. Well, let's actually see what the frog view is like. So I presume it's sold without a frog. Let's look at the head. Interesting bow there. Let's have a look at the condition report on that. So a little bit of wear there by the adjuster. Let's just have a look at the certificate as well. It's a Millant certificate again. Some pictures on this as well. Okay, that's interesting. So it shows there was a frog mounted. A bit confused about what's going on with that, but let's just go by for now. Right, Francois Pacat, violin bow by Francois Pacat, around 1845, amaret wood, so not Pernambuco, which will have an effect on value there. Pierre Guillaume certificate there, 10 to 15,000 on that one. I think if it was a Pernambuco stick, it would be a lot more. Right, violin bow by Nicolas Malines, around 1865. Another Guillaume certificate here, 30 to 35,000 on that. Malines are really super popular at the moment. It seems to be very popular at the auction, so I'm sure that will probably do quite well. Once again, check out all of the condition reports and everything. We're not going to get into that too much. Right, violin bow by one of the great masters working for Jean-Baptiste Villaume around 1870. This bow was probably made by Pierre Simon, so that's a good maker anyway. Pernambuco there, it's got this kind of interesting rounded kind of Villaume style frog. Another one with a Raffin certificate there, 15 to 25,000 onto that bow. Right, we've got a violin bow by Hermann Richard Frechner, 1890, so a great kind of German makers there, so 6 to 10,000 on that. So a really good family of makers there, and don't underestimate the qualities of a really good German bow. Right, violin bow by Carl Wilhelm Knopf around 1840. This Daniel Schmidt writing a lot of certificates for the German bows there. 9 to 15,000 on this. Kind of interesting looking frog there. Doesn't really look like it 100% goes, but curious enough in any case. Right, another violin bow by Nicolas Malines, 1865, Guillaume certificate there. 20 to 25 on that one. So yeah, some nice bows. Right, violin bow by Jean-Pierre Marie Pessoit, around 1850, faintly stamped Tourte. Another one with the Guillaume certificate, 25 to 35,000 on that. So really looking at fairly high level stuff here. Right, John Dodd, cello bow by John Dodd, around 1810, Pernambuco. Got a Guillaume certificate here. Kind of interesting head on that. Interesting kind of scoop there. Another one is kind of only part mounted. It's not open trench, but it doesn't have any mountings or anything at the back that I can see. which is quite a nice design as well. I actually quite like that. See what the condition report says on this. Some wear, but nothing too crazy. They do tend to deal in pretty good quality bows, this auction house. Right, violin bow by Eugene Sartre around 1890, stamped Bouger à Paris. Million certificate on that, 20 to 25,000. So yeah, I think for like a fine Sartre, maybe that's potentially a little bit higher than some of the estimates we see in some of the European auctions, but it's not a million miles away, so that's kind of interesting to see. Right, cello bow by Émile Auguste Houchard, 1930, stamp Chapeau Violin à Paris, Guillaume certificate there, 24 to 29 on that. I mean, all the bows look in really nice condition for the most part, other than a few that we've seen that need a bit of TLC. This one looks like it's got some interesting marks on the head. Violin bow by Joseph Gaud, around 1845. Amoret on that, Guillaume certificate 3 to 4. So the Amoret is not going to be ever going to be as desirable, I don't think, as Pernambuco, unless Pernambuco gets kind of banned from CITES, and then everyone's kind of scrabbling to get other bows. Right, violin bow of the Mayer Workshop around 1840, 3 to 4 on that one as well. And cello bow by Francois Lupeau, right, very nice. Around 1825, unstamped Pernambuco wood, with a Guillaume certificate there, 30 to 50,000 pounds on that. Yeah, so some great bows, I think, made by Lupeau. So that's definitely nice to see. We'll have a look at the certificate there. Okay, and just see. Let's have a look what the condition report is. Okay, so some wear on the frog. But yeah, really, really good condition, most of these bows so far. Violin bow by Nicholas Malin, around 1850. Unstamped, really nice, kind of aggressive head on that. Guillaume certificate as well, 25 to 35 on that. Right, cello bow by Etienne Pajot, 1825. Sold in an additional frog and button to play. Okay, silver mounted. Yeah. Guillaume certificate there. Right, 50 to 70,000. Right, we're getting into some fairly serious territory there. Violin bow 1940, unstamped. Okay, that's 600 to 900 pounds kind of estimate on that. Obviously, it's completely unknown bow, so yeah, I guess it's not an unreasonable estimate. Cello bow by Joseph René Lafleur, 1850, Pernambuco, Guillaume certificate, 30 to 40 on that. It's quite a nice head on that one actually as well. Quite interesting. So we're not going to look into everything in detail, because otherwise this would go on forever, and I'm sure that no one's really interested. Right, cello bow by Claude Thomasin, 1900, stamped Gustave Bernardel, reference certificate, 14 to 19 on that. Once again, looks really nice example. Obviously, if you can, look at these in person, try them in person, that is the best way. I think they do little tours actually with these bows, maybe around Europe. I think if you look into the details, obviously it's probably a bit late now because it's close to the auction, but I think they do. Cello bow by Francois Nicolas Varane there, 1880. We're looking at 19 to 25,000 pounds on that. If you're converting from Hong Kong dollars, so I'm just knocking a zero off. Right, cello bow by Joseph Arthur Vigneron Père, so the father. Pernambuco wood, octagonal. Another Guillaume certificate there, 18 to 25,000. The estimate on that. Right, this is the bow which I think is very interesting for me personally, because I like kind of more historical stuff. Violin bow by Nicholas Leonard and Francois Javier Tourte, around 1775, unstamped. Amoret wood, ivory frog, bone adjuster, good state of conservation, additional ebony frog to play, which is a very wise idea. RAF and certificate there. So 12 to 18,000 is the estimate on that. Interestingly, that these Tourte bows that are not kind of modern bows as such, this is like a kind of a more Kramer head classical kind of period bow. They don't get the same money. Obviously, like 12 to 18,000, that's a lot of money for a bow, but it's not your kind of 200, 300,000, you know, pounds or whatever you're gonna pay for like a Francois, like a mint condition Francois Xavier Tourte modern violin bow. But for me personally, beautiful looking bow, really nice head, like the original frog there. Nice that it has a replacement, so really interesting bow there. I'll have a quick look at the condition report. So there's some wear to the frog, but otherwise it looks pretty good. And let's do a 3D view of the head. Why not? It'd be nice to see this. It's a nice looking bow. Let's have a look at the frog. What they've got with this. Yeah, I think that is a really nice looking bow. So beautiful looking one for sure. Right, violin bow by Alfred Joseph Lamy Père, around 1900. RAF and certificate there, 10 to 16,000 on that. And cello bow by Jude Goliard, 1840 to 45. I need to really pronounce some of these makers' names a bit better. So 40 to 50,000 on that. Very important bow, the maker's maturity period, illustrated in the Millant book. Okay, yeah, it looks like in quite nice, quite crisp condition, given its age. Right, Tourte School, violin bow of the Tourte School in the style of Lupo, around 1810, unstamped. Pernambuco there, gold mounted, later ebony frog, with this large oval eye, which is always looks quite interesting. RAF and certificate there, 40 to 60,000 Hong Kong dollars, or 4 to 6,000 pounds roughly, is the estimate there. Let's see how many more we've got here. Violin bow by Victor Fetique, around 1925. RAF and certificate on that, we're looking at 22 to 28,000 pounds roughly, is the estimate on that. Okay, that is the last bow, so it wasn't quite the 50 or so that I thought, but 42. And we'll kind of go back, I think, to the main page so we can just see a quick overview. So yeah, we've lost some of the other ones here for some reason. I don't know why it's kind of, it's put this one to the withdrawn one to the end. So yeah, this is the FX Tourte Hong Kong auction that's finishing on the 8th of October. Some really interesting bows here, some pretty high level stuff. Really like this kind of Nicholas Leonard Tourte bow. I think that's really beautiful. Some other really great stuff. So yeah, if you're interested in bows, definitely check out this auction. Some great pictures, great kind of 3D imagery, really cool stuff. So I'll put a link in the description as always. Thanks a lot for watching, really appreciate it, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.